Today I wanted to look through some answers to the question, what will an INFJ never tell you that you will just need to know? I'm going to look through some answers on Quora and compare them to what I think myself. Funnily enough, I agree with pretty much all of the points people have put. Some things I've not experienced myself, so I can't speak for them, but a lot of them I definitely do agree with. For example, casual relationships. I've never understood that, and it's nice to see that a lot of other INFJs on Quora don't seem to understand it either. I've always been under the impression that if you're with someone in a romantic relationship, then you want to be with them for life. You can see yourself marrying them, having children with them, having a house together, spending the rest of your life with them. I don't quite understand the concept of hooking up, and quite a lot of other people said the same. One person even likened it to small talk. And I can understand that, because either you want to get to a deep conversation about something interesting rather than just passing by on the surface level. Hi, how are you? Nice weather we're having, that sort of thing. You want to get to the deep nitty-gritty of talking about philosophy or hobbies, interests, things that are far more interesting, or there's no point doing it at all. And yeah, I can see that being the same with relationships. Why just stay on the surface level? You can't ever get deep with someone if you're only having a casual relationship, or if you have no intention of being with that person for life. What's the point if you can only see yourself with them for a few weeks or months and then you'll probably move on? That seems to be a common thing for INFJs that we don't quite understand. Another thing someone's put is following rules. I'm sure they don't just mean every single rule, they probably mean certain ones that don't quite make sense. But there's also an element of human nature in this one. If we're told not to do something, we do it. Like the age-old, don't think about a pink elephant. I'm sure 90% of people are now thinking about a pink elephant. It's human nature to want to do things that we've been told we're not allowed to do or we're not supposed to do. Or when you're in a classroom in school and the teacher wants silence and says no laughing, then you're going to find absolutely everything hysterically funny. Someone dropping a pencil on the floor and you're going to try really hard not to burst out laughing, just because the teacher said don't laugh. Another one is being told what to do. I can definitely agree with that one. I hate being micromanaged. I hate having other people just stick in their opinion where it's not wanted. I have no issue with it if I ask for your opinion, but to just tell me how to do my life, what I should be doing right now based on what you think is right for me, definitely doesn't work well. It's definitely not something I like. Having to talk with people that you don't know very well, yeah, that will come under the bracket of small talk, because you can't really go much further than that. You don't know where they stand on a number of issues. You don't know if they like the same sort of TV programs you like. You won't be able to just start talking about a true crime documentary you've seen. Maybe they absolutely hate that sort of thing. Or ask them what their stance is on a certain topic. You might really offend them. So you'd probably rather not say anything that's remotely deep at all, just in case, because you don't quite know where they stand. You want to figure them out a bit more first before you then start broaching those topics. Disrespect, that's definitely a big one for me as well. I hate being disrespected. This person's used the example of a bunch of guys on Tinder saying they just want to have fun with her, rather than actually have a proper relationship. Yeah, I've had a similar sort of thing walking down the street and having people ask me to have a threesome with them. I just find it incredibly disrespectful that they must only be looking at me as my body rather than me as a human being, as a person with a mind, with a personality, with intellect, with so much more going from me than my body. So it's not pleasant being degraded to just one tiny part of yourself. Another point is not having any purpose in life. I know I've touched on this in a few of my previous videos, of how important it is for me. And it must just be an INFJ thing that we want to have a purpose in our lives. We don't like the idea of we were just thrown onto this earth to just live, exist for however many years and then die and that's it. It doesn't seem enough for us. There must be something more. There must be a reason why we are here. Even if it's something small, like just to make your special someone happy, or to bring joy to your parents' faces, anything. There's got to be a purpose, a reason why we're here, more than just to have fun. That's far too shallow for me, and I'm sure for a lot of other INFJs too. Another part of us that you probably just need to know is that we can be very paradoxical. That a person said we often present ourselves in a manner which can confuse you due to your preconceptions of us. We are introverts, yet we can seem very extroverted around people we know, love and trust. We can have lovely fun conversations and talk for hours, and so you think, oh, they can't be introverted, they must be extroverted, or at least an ambivert. But then you don't see that side of ourselves when we go back to our room and put our headphones in and just disconnect from everybody for a while, where we don't want to answer any phone calls or any text messages. We won't answer if anybody's at the door. We just want space, time to ourselves. That part often gets hidden for a lot of INFJs if you don't know them that well, if you only see them at work or see them at school or whatever. you'll miss that part of them, so you probably will think that we're more extroverted, and then looking up online thinking, no, that can't be right, it says they're an introvert. This person says that we are often who you need us to be in order to maximise your potential. I guess this goes in with being a bit of a social chameleon, that we can judge and assess the situation that we're in, the environment, and see what part of ourselves we need to bring to the forefront the most. Which part of us is the most acceptable? Are we able to go into really deep conversations and talk about life and philosophy and psychology, or would that not quite be accepted? Do we need to stay a bit more surface level and laugh and joke around? It means that lots of people will see different sides of us, but only a select few will be able to see more of us. Another thing is that we hate it when things are scripted or faked. When people just go for the standard script when they pass someone on the street. Hi, how are you? How's your week been? Oh, nice weather we're having. Or, oh, it's a shame it's raining. Oh, are you up to much next week? Oh, that's nice. Hope you have a good weekend. That script can just get incredibly boring. It's so surface level. It's so shallow. You never say anything true. You just go along with a how are you? I'm fine. Regardless of whether you're falling apart inside or you're over the moon because something amazing's happened. You'll stick with the standard I'm fine or good thanks, you. It just lacks creativity, it lacks authenticity. You don't really get to see how that person actually is. It's just, we're saying this because it's a thing to do, we've passed each other on the street, and then let's move on with our lives. Another part about the scripts is being fake. We're very good at picking up on when other people are acting fake. Whether they're doing it because they're trying to hide how they're really feeling, or they don't want to upset anyone, or whether it's just a part of their personality. Lots of people have different reasons for being fake, and we probably won't tell you if we notice it, but we definitely will, and we'll try and assess what makes the most sense as to why they're acting fake. If it becomes a common thing, then we're probably likely to think less of you, because you're not being authentic and real in front of us. It should be quite evident that we're very easy to talk to as INFJs. We're non-judgmental. Lots of people pick up on that when they first meet us, and that's why we get lots of deep conversations and life stories from people that we just sat next to on a 10-minute bus journey. So when someone feels like they can't be themselves, they have to hide a part of them or be fake around us, then it just makes things more confusing. Another thing is that we're very private people. We don't often share much about ourselves. I know for a fact I don't. I haven't really gone into that much personal things on here. I don't think I ever will. There's some channels of people that are very happy to just cry and share about all their deep, dark secrets and things they're struggling with and going through. I will only pick things that, as I put it, I wouldn't mind if it was plastered all over Facebook and everybody knew. They're the kind of things I'll share with people, because there's a high chance that there will be gossip and that it will be involved at some point. I've had lots of experiences of that as a child, sharing something with someone and then 5 minutes later the whole school knows. So I tend to just keep things to myself. I don't think there's anybody that knows everything about me, and I don't know if there ever will be. People that are close to me know a lot more than people that don't know me well, but there are some things that I will always keep to myself. I guess that's just how we are. Another thing is that we hold both ourselves and other people to high standards. And I like how Brandy Coates on Quora has put it really well, so I'm going to quote from it. That we hold other people to high standards, not in a mean way. We just know what people are capable of. We especially do this to those that we care deeply about. We're very good at seeing potential, so we're very good at picking up on, we know you can do better than what you're doing right now, so we will naturally want to push you to achieve what we know you can achieve. Yes, it might seem like high standards, but if we know you can achieve it, then it seems right to strive to be better. And it's because we care about you that we want you to do better and be a better person. But we will always hold ourselves to higher standards. Quoting again, that we hold ourselves to impossibly high standards that we can never live up to, and have an impossible time forgiving ourselves for the mistakes that we have made. Which means that we perpetually have a love-hate relationship with ourselves. I think a lot of this comes from us always having a growth mindset, always wanting to improve ourselves and become better versions of ourselves. We see that we must be able to become better than we are because we see all of our flaws. The areas that we lack in our weaknesses a lot more than anybody else will, which means we're likely to be harder on ourselves than anybody else would be on us. We know at the end of the day it all comes down to us. It's not about whether the stars align and fate will allow us to do a certain thing. It's our own hard work, and if we want to put that work in, then we know that we can get the results. Another point is that we're incredibly sensitive, but we don't often share that. I know a lot of us are highly sensitive people, which which does not just come down to being emotionally sensitive and crying at films. It can come down to having a sensitivity to light, to loud noises, just being overwhelmed with a lot of different areas. I guess we can see that as a weakness of ourselves, so we won't share it. Or maybe some of us have experienced people using our weaknesses against us, so we don't want to give them any ammunition. We'd rather just pretend like there's not a problem, keep that sensitivity that we have to ourselves, so it can't be used against us. Another point is that we love learning and researching. I definitely do that. I always have at least one course on the go of something that I'm teaching myself how to do. I'm always researching different areas. I have a wide range of interests that I enjoy looking up and studying. The documentaries I watch and TV programs are based around the things that I enjoy. They always have to help me to learn. They can't just be mindless drama for me to watch and gawk at for however many hours on end. It has to be something that involves my brain, that teaches me at the same time. The other thing, which I know I've said in a previous video as well, is that we dislike humanity but also care deeply about humanity. That is quite paradoxical, going back to a previous point. For whatever reason, we're able to look at people and to see the best in them and also the worst in them, which can change our minds as to whether we love people or hate people. At any given time, we can see the depths of the depravity that people can go to get what they want, normally money, that sort of thing. But we can also see the best in people. We can see their potential, what they can achieve if they just put their mind to it. So it can be quite interesting, I guess, to see where we are standing at any given point on the like-dislike for humanity, and it'll be based on what we've researched or what we've seen recently. Another person said that they hate pranks. I've always found that quite interesting as well. I'm not so great at sitting there and watching people deliberately hurting each other. Some ones can be funny, I guess, but ones that involve pain I've never understood, and it's interesting to see that other people have said that too. Not something I would have associated with INFJs. I guess it's maybe because we have FE quite high up, or because we're feelers, either of the two. But yeah, it's quite an interesting point as well. Another point is that as much as we like providing for others, we want to be provided for as well. That we know that we need to have a connection with other people. As much as we can be completely independent and not need anybody else in our lives, we know that at the end of the day we are all social creatures. We are supposed to live in a community where each of us has a different area of expertise. One person makes the food, another person provides any medical attention, another person is the go-to for any advice or support, another person is great at building the houses. This is where we came from for such a long period of time. We had communities like this. And then all of a sudden, in a very short period of time after the Industrial Revolution, it switched to, no, we just support ourselves. It's everybody for themselves. You can't even go to your neighbour and ask for some sugar or some eggs anymore. And all of this has happened in my lifetime, which in the scheme of things is not that long at all. People don't look out for other people's children playing in the front garden anymore. That used to happen when I was younger. Everybody's just so focused on themselves. Nobody wants to help anybody else. There is no community anymore. And I know we can look around and see, oh, everybody's come together because of COVID, but have we really? Are we really doing that, or is everybody out there just looking after number one? Because we're very quick to separate people based on whether they're doing what we think they should or not. This can go down for the rules for COVID, it can go for politics, it can go for whether you're vegan or not, whether you're whatever. And we have our select few in our little group, and then everybody else is wrong. Everybody else is not as intelligent as us because they don't know the truth. Where's the community spirit gone? Where's the, no matter what your differences are, no matter what you look like, what you believe, what you wear, whatever, we are all people. We are all on the same earth. We need to look after each other. It's sad that seems to have disappeared a lot recently. Anyway, rant over. Another point is that we often talk out loud. I definitely do that a lot. I think it can help me process things sometimes, especially my feelings. I don't tend to just walk around saying, oh, I need to do the laundry now, and oh, I need to go and wash up. It tends to be after an argument or after something is challenging my thoughts, my beliefs. When something's happened and I know I need time to sit and figure it out. If there's nobody else around, I'll probably do that out loud. If not, then maybe I'll write it down or just mull over it. Another interesting point that someone said is that they don't like it when there's more than one person in their room. And if I think about it, going back to as a child, yeah, I much preferred, if I was inviting a friend around, that it was just that one person that was in the room with me and that we could chat. When there's more than one, it gets a bit more difficult to even out your time between them. You don't want to spend too much time talking to one person and forget about the other one. It's definitely more comfortable, I'd say, to have one-on-one conversation, because I don't need to worry about, oh, have I said anything to them recently? Do I need to ask them a question too? Are they feeling left out? Do they understand the conversation that we're having? It's easier when there's only one person to focus on. And the final point I'll say for this video that I thought was quite interesting, I've definitely experienced it a fair amount because we have to take time to process things before we speak, is that never think that because we are pausing we are done talking. It's quite difficult because we are trying to figure out what to say, the best way to say it. We are taking in our environment, we're taking in the body language of the people we are talking to, their facial expressions, their tone of voice, to see if we need to change anything about how we are speaking. Maybe the other person doesn't understand where we're coming from, maybe they've got the wrong end of the stick, maybe we need to rephrase it slightly to make it clearer for them, maybe we need to go into more detail, or maybe we need to stop the conversation, maybe they need some time to go and have a break or to think over things or whatever. We're analysing everything at the same time whilst speaking, which can make it quite difficult for us to get words out sometimes. Often we'll just need to take a few seconds to pause and to think before we can then respond. Also, especially if someone's asking a question, we might want to know the motive behind why they've asked it. It might take us a couple of seconds to figure that out before we can come back with a response that we think is the most appropriate based on the situation. So never assume and never just jump straight in when we're having a couple of seconds before we answer. Always allow us time to speak. I hope this video was interesting. Just thought I'd scroll through several of the answers and pick out points that I thought were quite interesting, that we won't tell you as INFJs, but will be nice if you knew. And I guess as you get to know us better, you will know most of these things, probably because if you don't, we will tell you. If we know you better, then we'll feel more able to open up and be honest with you and say, this is important to me, this is something that I value. Please don't do this, please do this more. But yeah, maybe there needs to be a handbook on INFJs. Probably needs to be a handbook on every single type, to be fair, because we can all not understand each other. Just because I'm good at reading people doesn't mean I'm going to understand a different type that well at all, especially not when I first met them. It would take a while for me to get to understand their idiosyncrasies, how they work, what they mean when they say certain things, and what their facial expressions mean. So yeah, it's a shame we weren't all born with a handbook. I'm sure that would make life so much easier, especially parents, because the likelihood is you're going to get a child who's a different personality type for you, so you've had to learn yourself, you've had to learn your partner, and now you've got to learn about a child that has a completely different type to you. Even worse if you're a sensor and they're an intuitive, or you're intuitive and they're a sensor. Can be really difficult. So yeah, just have compassion for each other and just give each other a bit of grace. Don't be too hard on others if they take a bit of time to figure things out, or if they say things that are wrong and upset you. Don't just jump straight to a conclusion of, well, they're a horrible person. Maybe they're not, maybe they didn't mean it that way. Maybe they're just trying to figure it out, maybe they're going through stuff at the moment. I think we all need to have more compassion for each other. I can definitely see that lacking in today's world. Everybody jumps straight to the worst conclusion, you must be a horrible person because you disagree with me, rather than taking the time to have a conversation with them. Why do you believe what you do? What made you come to the conclusion that this was right? I believe this is right, here are my reasons, let me hear yours. Have a discussion. Don't just assume that everybody who believes something different to you is wrong, because that's not always the case. You don't know where they've come from, you don't know their upbringing, and we're all people at the end of the day. I think sometimes we forget that. We're all people, we're all on the same journey of life. We're all trying to figure it out the same way. None of us know what we're doing. None of us were given a guide to life when we were born. We're all figuring this out as we go. So yeah, just try and understand others a little bit more. Yeah, anyway, as always, thank you for your time.